dBm East Lansing, and you're in tune with the Sunday Jazz Excursion.
Charlie Parker looked like Buddha. Charlie Parker, who recently died laughing at a juggler on TV after weeks of strain and sickness, was called the perfect musician. And his expression on his face was as calm, beautiful, and profound as the image of the Buddha represented in the East. The lidded eyes, the expression that says, all is well. He played, all is well. You had the feeling of early in the morning, like a hermit's joy, or like the perfect cry of some wild gang at a jam session, wail, whop. Charlie burst his lungs to reach the speed of what the speedsters wanted, and what they wanted was his eternal slow down. A great musician and a great creator of forms that ultimately find expression in mores and what have you. Musically as important as Beethoven, yet not regarded as such at all. A genteel conductor of string orchestras, in front of which he stood, proud and calm, like a leader of music in the great historic world night, and wailed his little saxophone, the alto, with piercing clear lament, in perfect tune and shining harmony, toot, as listeners reacted without showing it, and began talking. And soon the whole joint is rocking and talking, and everybody talking. Charlie Parker whistling them on to the brink of eternity with his Irish St. Patrick batoodle stick. And like the holy miss, we blop and we plop in the waters of slaughter and white meat, and die one after one in time. And how sweet a story it is when you hear Charlie Parker tell it, either on records or at sessions, or at official bits and clubs, shots in the arm for the wallet. Gleefully he whistled the perfect horn. Anyhow, it made no difference. Charlie Parker, forgive me. Forgive me for not answering your eyes, for not having made an indication of that which you can devise. Charlie Parker, pray for me. Pray for me and everybody in the nirvanas of your brain, where you hide, indulgent and huge, no longer Charlie Parker, but the secret unsayable name that carries with it merit, not to be measured from here to up, down, east, or west. Charlie Parker, lay the bane off me and everybody.
There we have it, the first set of our 2-hour Charlie Parker special today. This is the Sunday Jazz Excursion, and today we are featuring the music of Charles Yardbird Parker, and we're pleased to have in the studio with us today a very special guest, Michigan State University history professor, jazz scholar, and I'm pleased to say friend, Dr. Harry Reid. Is with us today. How you doing, Harry?
I'm fine, Bruce. That was a nice introduction, man. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here. A little nervous, but happy to be here.
Oh, man, you and Gene are one of our favorite guests up here. People always seem to get the most response.
Yeah, great.
So I thought we'd have you back and listen to Dixon Bird on this. On my graduation, this is it, man. What a better way to start your freedom than to listen to some Bird.
Why don't you introduce those three cuts we did, and then we'll talk a little bit about them.
All right. The last three we just heard was a Charlie Parker composition entitled Donna Lee, featured the Charlie Parker All-Stars. This is from a 1947 recording on the Savoy label. We heard Miles Davis trumpet, Bud Powell piano. You could hear Bud humming in the back. You know it's Bud when you hear that humming. Tommy Potter bass, and one of the masters, Max Roach drums, along with the great Charles Parker on alto saxophone. We heard the master take of Donna Lee. Then we heard two complete takes. Then we heard from one of Harry's albums, Dial, Volume 4. We heard the Charlie Parker doing My Old Flame. That's a nice standard. Bird reads it pretty close.
It's one of the things that I think we were trying to introduce to people. We associate Bird with bebop, right, as one of the founders of bebop.
Mm-hmm.
And Donna Lee is a signature composition in bebop because it's got all the time, the tempo, and all that kind of stuff. But Bird was a master at interpreting ballads, and we'll talk about that a little bit more, too, and this is a marvelous one. Maybe later we'll listen to Embraceable You.
Oh, yeah, that famous chorus to begin it off where Bird, the famous alto break.
Yeah.
And then the musical portion, we heard Barbados again from this Complete Savoy Studio Sessions. And Barbados featured, again, Miles Davis on trumpet, John Lewis from the Modern Jazz Quartet, who would later get on into that, on piano, Curly Russell bass. And what can you say about Max Roach, man?
Everything.
Everything.
You and I talked about trying to get Max to come here this year.
It almost happened, but we won't get into how they wasted their money on something else. You blew it.
One of the things to say about the records we've heard thus far is that all these guys were in their 20s. I think at the time Bird was 24 on Donna Lee, and what was the other one?
Let's see, we heard Mild Flame, Barbados.
On Barbados, too, he was about 22, 24.
Yeah.
So this was music of young Afro-Americans
Right.
coming out of a particular kind of experience in America around the time of World War II, the Depression. Lots of influences on that music.
Oh, for sure, man. And Miles Davis, a young Miles Dewey Davis right there. Interesting, too, how I'm not sure where Max is from, but both Bird and Miles are from the Midwest.
Yeah. Max, as far as I know, was born in New York City, but came out of a West Indian ethnic background in New York. You know, and at this point, I think he was about 18 or 19.
Yeah, and then just tearing it up ever
Yeah.
since, still
Yeah.
going strong, Max Roach. Then we open it up with a Jack Kerouac poem entitled Charlie Parker from this is out on Rhino Records. It's called the Complete Jack Kerouac. It's a 3 CD set.
Kerouac had a lot to say about Bird. And, you know, Bird only lived 35 years, but he put enough living in those 35 years probably to last several people 3 or 4 normal lifetimes.
Yeah. He was not only the consummate jazz musician, but he really seemed to embody the times, at least amongst those people with his spirit, always able to play. You know, one thing, too, when I think about Bird is how liberal he was with giving other people solos, if we noticed in those cuts.
Yeah, one of the things is by the time he starts recording, and he's recording with people he's happy with, they've already gone through the wars, went through the wars from the time they were 14 or 15, developing their music, developing their idiom, so that if you stayed alive, you know, until you got to the recording,
Right.
He had to give you that kind of space. Right?
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about the cutting sessions that made these guys who they were by the time that the music became public.
Yeah, I always remember like the great story of Dizzy Gillespie when he finally cut Roy Eldridge at Mittens. If you ever read the book To Be or Not to Bob,
Yes.
Dizzy just gets off on that. You can tell just from reading how happy he was. It's like, man, I remember Kenny Clark said he finally did it.
Yeah.
He went up one night and he finally cut Roy. You know.
So the cutting contest, backgrounds for Bird. Bird was born in Kansas City in 1920. By the time he was 14, he started frequenting nightclubs and listening to all those great bands that came through Kansas City, the territorial bands.
The Blue Devils,
the Blue Devils,
Benny Moten,
Benny
Swing.
Moten, Basie came out of that area. All those guys moving back and forth between everywhere, Chicago, Oklahoma, New Orleans,
Kansas City.
And Bird's there, sitting in the sessions nightly as a teenager,
Right.
learning and catching hell for it. You know, if you made a mistake, they'd laugh you off the stage and send you back to the woodshed.
Oh, yeah.
So by the time these guys are cutting records, they have already spent a 5 or 6 year apprenticeship in molding the music to their own particular idiom, you know.
What did you, just to switch, what did you think of the Clint Eastwood movie Bird?
Awful.
Yeah.
I think the best thing that I liked about it was the way the engineers put together the music. There was bird stuff, but Lenny Niehaus had also kind of adaptation, but the music was good. The acting by the young kid who played Bird, Forrest
Whitaker.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job. The movie itself wasn't really worth it.
Yeah, it didn't really parlay like the joy and all the hard work and the music and the spirit of the music that I had read about or other things I had seen about Bird as well.
Yeah, all of that was missing. Plus, Eastwood seemed to be too interested in turning it into a love story. And there was certainly that dimension, but nobody or at least I didn't come away from there knowing what I knew about Bird with a feeling that Eastwood really made the music as important as it was.
No. It's because love stories sell, man.
Yeah.
You know, almost like One Last Cat trying to make a buck off Bird.
So we're still looking for a good film on Bird. Maybe we're still looking for a good biography on Bird. I like the Ross Russell thing, but Ross Russell also got a number of things wrong, but he had the spirit.
Right.
Seems to me the spirit is real good.
Yeah, it's a decent book. So, how about if we get back to the music here?
Yeah, because we're going to have lots to say about Bird.
Lots to say about Bird. We could talk and not play any music at all. So, if you'd like to chat with Harry or myself, you can call up at 355-4237. Maybe we can try and play some of your favorite Bird cuts out there. Otherwise, I believe, what is it that we're going to listen to here?
Forgotten what we said.
Yeah, we had. We're going to listen to Bird of Paradise.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to listen to 3 cuts of Bird of Paradise off the Charlie Parker on the Dial Records, which was Ross Russell's label.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's got Miles Davis on trumpet, of course Charlie Parker on the alto, Duke Jordan piano, Tommy Potter bass, and Max Roach on drums. This was recorded at the WOR Studios in New York City, Tuesday, October 28th, 1947. So, yeah, and the music is still strong today.